Welcome back to MCOC Al Bundy Rules. I got Chapter 3, third and final chapter for this May 2021 event quest. Let's take a quick look at an easy path for completion. We'll see mutants are the best to bring. We'll see the bleed debuffs by 90% reduce. Biohazard, you got to be careful not to hit into the block. I know I forget sometimes. And bloodletting. So that is what I am looking at on the path. So we're going to bring mutants. Not too worried about them being bleed immune or not based on the nodes. I'm looking at that Mr. Negative champ. I see evasive, I see limber, I see new champs with new nodes that I've never seen before. Has me concerned, I will admit that. So let's hopefully see how that goes. I am going to try to go as cleanly through this pass. I have as many champs left over as needed because I don't know what's going on with that fight. So we will see. Kabam kind of outdid themselves with all these new nodes, and they don't seem too bad. Just got to get used to them is the thing. And I hate reading new nodes. I just kind of learned through trial and error. With that being said, I brought one of my favorite trinities right now. My mutant trinity with Apocalypse, Psylocke, and Cable. And definitely one of my favorite trinities right now. I am bringing Apocalypse in first, as I will normally do when I use this trinity, as this will allow me to get my 4 horsemen charges so I could use it on who I choose, Cable or Psylocke. Both benefit from it. Neither technically needs it. Both need the synergy with Apocalypse for sure. Neither technically needs a horseman, so I'll decide as I go on what I do from that. Psylocke does get a little bit extra boost from it. So that was a nice, easy fight with Apocalypse there. If you're not sure what I was doing or how I did what I did there, I do have a tutorial on Apocalypse. I'd recommend checking it out. Should help it nice and easy. He is a great, great champ. So now I'm looking at Korg. I'm kind of thinking on who I want to use for this. I want as few hits as possible with Korg, so I'm going to go ahead and probably deal with Cable, because once I get his rock shield down, my strategy in my head here is get his rock shield down, which I'll do by doing 5-hit combos to get him down. If I take a little damage in the meantime, I'm okay with that. Once I get the rock shield down, I'm going to go into parry heavies. I don't want to try parry heavies when the rock shield is up, because if he shrugs it off, I'm going to get deeply punished, and it ain't going to feel good. So now I can just kind of do my heavies on him when I'm there. I tried to save an S3 for when he gets his rock stacks back, because I've noticed a lot of people don't realize this, but if you use an S3 on Korg, his shatters his shield immediately and takes away all those rock stacks. So it's a good way to deal with him, so I don't have to, makes it a little bit easier. And then go back to my parry heavy. Dex that one. If you're not sure how I'm fighting this core or what I'm doing or how I'm dexing the certain things, I do have a video on how to fight Korgan. That is not what you're supposed to do. You are not supposed to headbutt him. I don't know what I did there, but other than that weird move I did for absolutely no reason, nice smooth fight overall. Gonna be going into Sorcerer Supreme now, and here I'm going to kind of use this fight to prove a point. I'm going to use this fight to prove a couple points. So I'm going to bring Psylocke in. I purposely did not activate the Horseman synergy for her because, one, I want to prove that she does not need it active. She does benefit from his synergy Apocalypse, but she doesn't need Horseman. Is better with it, but doesn't need it. And I also want to prove that she is very good against champs that have automatic power control. It's going to take me some extra specials, but I can't permanent lock Sorcerer Supreme, champ that keeps the power gain going on, but I can still deal with her. And look how easy people talk about Psylocke's slow power gain. They don't know how to use her. Look at my power gain. I'm getting full bar every single special. Just a matter of learning how to use a champ. So I figured this will be a good chance to kind of show, as anyone who watches my channel knows, I'm a pretty big fan of Psylocke, and it drives me crazy how people always trash her on things that they just don't know how to use her right. Anyway. anyway. So that was the fun fight, but I will be activating the Horseman synergy soon and see a little bit of a difference as well. You especially see a bigger difference in longer fights. This can build up percentage based on the PSI charges with her, with the Horseman activated. It might not make a huge difference in shorter fights. Big fights, it sure does, as you get those combo counts up. And here we're going to get into the Magneto. So I did activate the Horseman this time. And figured she would be good. I double checked. I know she has a sword, but I couldn't remember if she was metal. I guess she's using a plastic sword or a wood sword, because she is not #metal, which is good, but I couldn't remember, so wanted to double check. So Psylocke with her non-metal sword now is going to keep smashing around on Magneto. I'm being a lot more passive with Psylocke than I normally would. Normally she has really, really good like back intercept, very similar, pretty much identical to Magic's, and you can just corner them and go crazy. The problem is if I hit into the block, which will happen sometimes when you fight that way, I'm going to get poisoned and I will drain my health very, very quickly. And nice little 45,000 heavy there. So I'm going to play a little more passive than I normally would to avoid hitting into the block. Well, I need some energy, so that's the only item I will use when I'm doing these kind of walkthroughs, which is energy, so I can get these walkthroughs out to you as quick as possible. Don't want y'all having to wait on me for waiting for hours and hours for the energy to refill. But revives, health potions, boost, not gonna use them. So now I'm bringing Apocalypse into this fight. A few reasons I'm bringing Apocalypse here is, one, he reduces evade. You see that red 10 up there, and now it's a 20 every time an evade happens. He reduces the chance to evade. And I got so busy on this fight trying to switch Nightcrawler over to Swashbuckling, which technically probably isn't even needed with Apocalypse, since I can build up his immunity to evade, that I forgot that I get poisoned when I hit into the block. So now I lost most of my health being stupid. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am infamous for forgetting things about unstoppable timers, about don't hit into the block if it's going to give me a poison and I don't have a poison immune champ. So yeah, that's a silly mistake, but if I can at least get through this fight with Apocalypse, that's most of what I'm going to need with him anyways, and I will be happy and satisfied with that. I already switched Nightcrawler to Swashbuckling, so easy breezy from that point on. So silly mistake there, cost me a lot of health, but hey, learn from my mistakes so you don't repeat them, right? Let me make them for you. Let's get on into magic. So for anybody who watches my videos knows who I'm going to use here. No brainer, as I like to compare these to a lot, and of course it's different finding them in AI, but as far as their abilities, they get compared a lot, and people always talk about how amazing Magic was. Probably one of the most controversial videos I ever did was a Psylocke versus Magic video I released a few weeks ago. So much I had to do like a do-over part 2 to give Magic a full synergy team, because there was so much outcry on the Magic fans. Bottom line is people just refuse to accept Psylocke as being the good champ that she really is. And he actually needs a synergy, so does Cable. Everybody's accepted that, so accept it with Psylocke. Everybody's accepted it with Thing, accept it with Psylocke. Don't need the double standards on the synergy dependent champs. Anyway, so I figured Psylocke would be really good here because Magic's Limbo can cause a lot of damage. This will cause me some health, so if I can permanent power lock her, which I can easily and have easily done, I don't have to deal with it no more, right? So I have power locked Magic and made the fight easy breezy. So now let us move on over now. I got a good amount of my team left, which is good, other than that silly mistake I made with Apocalypse, and which is good because I don't know what in the world to expect on this fight with Mr. Negative. I've heard a few people say a few weird things about him, so I see, and if I should just read the abilities and spend some time looking, but that's not how I roll. Anyone who watches these know I don't study this. I just go right on in and figure it out. Dish over prowess when they land same basic attacks twice, so I'm going to get prowess. I don't feel like so I'm probably just going to give him prowess. I don't want to deal with that. Special attack, heal block, okay. Evade, so when defenders knock down, they gain evade, so I got to be careful of knocking him down. Great. Limber, stun debuff, footloose after activating special, they become unstoppable. these notes kind of aren't the best. Wouldn't it be as bad if I knew anything about this champ, but I know nothing about this champ, so that's going to make it a little more interesting. As fair warning, this is probably going to get messy. I'm just going to tell you. That's why I wanted to have as much close to a full team as possible, because I have heard some complaints about this fight, and well, running right into a heavy isn't the smartest way to start off. So I did see some stuff about evades on there, so I'm thinking maybe Falcon could hook me up here with some lock-on. So I'll do as much damage as I can. I have zero expectations, and I'm doing reverse thingies, so I guess is there inverted controls on this fight? I don't know which way I'm going. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. So, yeah. Yeah, I really should have read the abilities here. Okay, so there's clearly some kind of inverted control. I don't know if this is a mind control to where a mind controlled champ immune would be relevant. So I just do whatever damage I could at the end, because yeah, I'm just gonna chip away. I'm gonna have to later on this fight. Probably a few, because a few of the bosses, Kabam kind of upped the nodes on the bosses this time for sure. So I think some of these bosses are going to create a little more difficulty. Normally I solo everyone like effortlessly. This time, I think I might have soloed one or two of them my first time through. So I think there's going to be some additional help. So probably going to be going back through these bosses and creating some guides on how to counter them specifically. And when I start doing that, I'm going to have to read the notes as much as I hate to. And yeah, this inverse stuff, not excited with the unstoppable and the evade, that is quite a lot going on. Again, not the worst thing in the world if it's a champ you're familiar with, or if you took the time to read the champ abilities, but hey, why make things easy on myself? And so Luck did well for me, so I'm just trying to get as much damage as I can. I have no shame in using a whole team approach here. I don't know which way I'm going, or I notice I'm starting to shiny when I get inverted, it looks like. So I'm trying to be careful, but right now I'm just going to take block damage, because I having a hard time figuring out which way I am going and when the timer is, but I'm noticing shiny stuff. It seems to be playing a role there. So I'm just going to back up, wait for my shiny stuff to go away. Oh man, if I could have got that S1, it would have been good. I had him set up. I forgot about the D10, the stun lowering. Man, if I had remembered that, I would have been good, because that power lock would have done a lot of change for me. But that was my mistake, forgetting about that node on here. So this has got to... So don't worry, I'll have other videos out later at some point on some of these bosses on a little better strategy than my free-for-alls I'm currently doing. But as those of you who watch my monthly walkthroughs know, they're all organic. I just go on in there, and if I take a beating, so be it. And speaking of beating, that hurt by half of my health. I really need a lot from Guardian here, because this has not been a good boss fight for me. So for not a whole lot of health, I'm just kind of looking at an S1, S2 will be more than enough, I believe, or get up to that S2, and I should be good. But I do see that he is there. I can get it off first, and boom, boom, boom. Okay, Guardian came through for me. So I was starting to at least come up with a strategy towards the end, which was notice a little shiny stuff starts tinkling, then watch out and just go to block because of reverse controls. But pay attention to that. A lot of nodes going on there. Watch out for the unstoppables. Watch out for the evades. A lot of stuff going on, especially for a new champ with some kind of weird abilities as well. So keep an eye on that. So I'll go back and I'll re-highlight that fight in the near future. Looking here at 3.2, the final quest. Seeing skill take advantage. We're seeing that there's going to be some evade Mixmaster Dizzy going on to Disorient the evade. There's a similar one to previous months, to where can counter that with shock. If they're shocked, they can't evade. Or, of course, when he's evading, I'm looking at this champ too. I've seen a bunch of interesting nodes. Strikes, attackers, block, regenerate, so you don't want to get hit, unstoppable. So that another new champ I know nothing about with some crazy nodes. That's going to be an ugly fight too, I'm willing to bet. Hopefully not as bad as the last one, but probably will be. So let's move on over. I'm going to go into this path. I'm going to start off over with She-Hulk. Looks like a pretty simple path. So I brought Black Widow because as long as I can keep an active shock on them, they cannot evade me. Same reason why, well, Night Thrasher I brought too, because his skateboard attacks won't miss, but also if I can get the Incinerate on them based on the nodes, they won't evade me either. And then, of course, Falcon, I think most know, is just an evade super stud these days once you get lock on going. So you see the evade's failing as long as I keep shock. So if I lose the shock, then I will just wait until I get another one before I play aggressive. The safest way to pull one on for me is just parry and then do some attacks. Hope the shock applies right away. And then try and take advantage of them. And try not to do what I just did and take several punches in the head. Alright. So the shock didn't apply, so I backed off. Got the shock going on. Trying to bait out that special is what I'm hoping to do before I launch my S2 is a goal of mine. And She-Hulk is holding tight. I'm not, there we go. So now I need to get my shock and get that S2. Well, the shock didn't stick, but there it is, and the fight is over. So you see, she's pretty dang good for these nodes. I made a little silly mistake, started headbutting her fist partway through the fight. But other than that, see, she works pretty dang well for these nodes. Also up, I brought Doom and Sim Supreme for the boss. I'm thinking they should be good, but we'll see on the notes how this goes. So we're going to move into Night Thrasher now. And I'm going to stay up with the mediums on him until I can apply an Incinerate, which I did right there with that special one from the medium. And as long as that Incinerate's good, she cannot evade, so I can mix it up away from just skateboard attacks now. I just got to keep it refreshed like I did with that heavy right there. And as long as I keep that Incinerate refreshed with heavies occasionally, I can attack freely as I want. Otherwise, I have to be careful. Only skateboard attacks if the Incinerate expires. Went ahead and got those taunt going on. And just stay moving on Hela, trying to get as much as I can capitalize on her with this Night Thrasher here. Working up a little bit of damage at this point of time as well. Get some decks going on. And now here we are trying to finish up this fight. And 15%, but I do have to remember that she does have that 1% life health save thingy-majiggy. So I'm going to be careful once I get her down to that. Don't want to make a silly mistake. And there's the indestructible at 1% now. So I'll hang tight, wait for the indestructible to kind of wear down a little bit. And here we go. Skateboard to the head. KO. Alrighty. Starting off fairly well so far the first couple fights. Not great, but not terrible. We'll take it. We'll take it. So let's move on over to Hawkeye now. Hawkeye. The one who always makes me laugh because everybody always says he's the most underrated champ in the game, to where how often can you, how many people can say you're underrated before you're not underrated anymore? He was actually one of my first go-to champs when I started playing long ago. Still has some good fun use in him. So, Hawkeye. I am doing the same strategy I did in the previous fight I used with Black Widow Deadly Origin, keeping those shocks up. Getting a lot of shocks going on there. I want to keep those, that way I don't get evaded, kind of build it up. And I just completely smashed him all over the place. Got him cornered and he was done before he knew he was done. Now we're going to go into the newer champ. Came out last month, the Sorcerer Centurion. Bought him a little batch last month, but he's still fairly new, so I'm not super comfortable with him. It takes me a little while before I get comfortable with the newer champs, but he's not, shouldn't be too bad, so not worried about this one. I did decide to bring Falcon in though. I got the lock on going, that way I can just keep the lock on and just fight smooth and freely from that point on. I am seeing I got him over 2 bars of power and my lock on is off, so going to switch to passive, bait out that S2, wait for the timer to go ahead and get another lock on, and there we go. And And boom, 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 boom. Nice little S2, some massive good damage there. And down goes the Centurion. Alrighty, we are rolling through. There's that Robin looking guy. And let's go on to Miss Marvel. So I mentioned in one of my other walkthroughs, every time I see that, I keep thinking he's Robin from Batman and Robin. It's the colors that get me. I think the red and green, the color of his outfit keeps fooling me every time I see him. Anyway, my lack of Marvel comic knowledge is probably already evident to some of you, but let's get back to the fight, shall we? Miss Marvel. Oops. Oh, that was just a silly mistake. I forgot about the double hit on the medium, and I just pushed her to S3. That could be costly, because I was really hoping to have my whole 5-team person up for the boss fight, because I'm a bit worried about the boss fight. To tell you, he looks mean. I'm going to tell you he looks mean. Don't tell him I called him Batman and Robin, okay? Because I think he's going to punish me. So let us get into Falcon. I gotta be more careful. I need as many champs as I can have for these new boss fights with these crazy new nodes Kabam did. Until I get used to them, I need to go by a committee group approach. Not even considering solos at this point for these fights until I get a little more comfy and familiar with them, which I'll go back and get more comfy with them. But first run throughs and stuff, my early run throughs, yeah, I just figure out as I go. Got a nice little punch in on her, and boom, 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 down she goes. So I'm still kicking myself for my silly mistake I made with my Black Widow Deadly Origin, but that is okay. Let's try to use some of these energy refills to hop, skip, and jump my way to the end. So I see Quake here. Looking at who I want to use. Let's just go ahead and go with Falcon. Should be a nice, easy fight with him, I would believe. A nice little uppercut she ran right into. That looked painful. Poor Quake. Doing some good damage here. I see the S2 is coming up, so they're going to have to do a bait pretty very soon. Come on, Quake, give me your S2. There we go. And there she comes jumping. Her little Superman punch. When you see little Quake doing a Superman punch. And now I need to get my lock on back on. Here we go. Oh no, I was so busy with lock on, I took some punches. Ouch. And I missed I just messed everything up there. One little mistake missed me off of my S2 I wanted, and missed me off of my timer on there. That was, But on the good news, got some Incinerate, and she's mostly done. I'm going to be going into this final fight a lot more crippled than I had hoped. I'm down 1, and I don't got a whole lot left in Falcon, so I'm going to tell you I'm a little worried about this fight, not really knowing what to expect or how this is going to go. But hopefully I play well with the champs I brought specifically for the boss. And if I do, I should be fine. If I don't, well then let's see what happens. And nickel and diming my way using my little small energy refills to get to the end. There we go. And here we go, guys. Shang-chi, I forgot his name. Okay, so Hard Knocks Life, the well-timed block, they gain a passive disorient. All defender attacks are guaranteed critical hits. I don't want to block. One defender, the attacker block regenerates. So you don't want to block here. Don't block, don't parry. Okay? That's going to be some good advice. He's got some things going on, so you're going to have to play a little bit more. You also got to look out for that dang unstoppable. Kabam, they're dang unstoppables. Like there's not enough going on here. So I'm thinking Sorcerer Supreme should be a good fit for this fight. Between the nullifies, make it easier on the unstoppable. He is someone I'm going to explore using too later when I start trying to look at some decent solos. I just ran right into a S1 right there and took a beating. That's just some sloppy play. And then I forgot about the falter. Oh, the falter. Well, that did not go as planned. That was a really bad start. I don't have a whole lot left to my team to begin with, so that going the way it did, oh no. So hopefully Doom could do a little more justice. I gotta get a little comfortable with this guy. I gotta get comfortable with these nodes. So let's see how we go. So we see the unstoppables, trying to get the staggered for the to avoid those unstoppables. His special is like the easiest special in humanity to dex, so that's a good thing. But I tried to backhand him. I guess he shrugged off the shock, I'm thinking, because it didn't work and I got punished. So there's probably something in his abilities, and trying to figure them out, and I didn't even see the unstoppable there. I got a little disorientated because this is just going so bad with my first two fights. I'm down to 1% with Doom, and he still got 81%. So this is a good example on how not to fight Shang-Chi. Okay, so pretty much do everything to the opposite of what I've been doing with my first two attackers will be probably my best advice thus far. Okay. So trying to get him, but I'm at 1%. There isn't a whole lot I'm going to be able to do at that stage. And yeah, so at least I got a little damage done on him, but not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. And I'm down to not a whole lot left. I got my Night Thrasher. I also got a little bit left in Falcon. So 65% left. I got my Night Thrasher and a tiny bit of Falcon left. Let's see what I can do. Let's work the wonders. The good news is I'm starting to get a feel for Shang-Chi. I'm watching the Unstoppable now. I understand the other items going on. His special, S1 especially, is extremely easy. I'm kind of getting the flow now. Watch out for that Unstoppable. I got to remember the 10 seconds or falter. So I remember I'm looking at both timers now. Those are I've learned from my mistakes from the first two fights, which I made so many mistakes the first two fights. It's shocking if I could learn from all of them. So far I'm doing better. Night Thrasher is not the heaviest hitter out there, especially on a lower sig. So when I can't exactly spam his specials too much because of recoil, but I got it down. So I said my first two fights were what not to do. Here, what we're doing here, this is what we want to do. This is how we want to fight them. And based on how this is going, you can use any champ clearly. You just got to watch both timers. You got to watch the falter timer on the left. If there's falter, I see the falter. I'm backing up. I'm letting it expire. Now Unstoppable. So got to back up on Unstoppable. And there we go. So it's the timers. I see another falter. Ooh, gotta get away from the falter. There we go. Now I see Unstoppable. So having a hard time getting a hit. If those falters and Unstoppables keep going, and keep in mind you can't parry and stun, or you're going to heal him, then you can go like this little disco dance we got going on right here. So the timers, patience. This is a patient person fight. And I'm usually pretty patient at times. Like, nah, back and forth. It depends. Certain champs I'm patient with. The fights themselves, I'm not very patient at all. But I got it down now. So we're seeing the strategy. I'm watching Unstoppable. Once it starts getting, that half a second away from Unstoppable, I'm going to back away. I'm trying to keep those hits going because if I go 10 seconds without hitting him, I get that falter. But I know this now. So if I feel like I haven't landed a hit in a little while, because between the combination of Unstoppable or just a bad, and there was just a mistake on my end, hit right into the block, then I'll back off and let the falter expire. At least the falter will expire. And considering how bad my Sim Supreme and Doom, who both should be really good matchups for this fight, by the way, I did horrible with it. Night Thrasher, of all people, who no one would probably think of being a good match for this fight, is completely dominating it since I brought him in. But it's just because of the play style. So get familiar with the notes, see what I've been doing. Just watch my Night Thrasher part to throw the rest of the fights out of your memory from the first two fights and do what we've been doing here. And you should be good to go. But like I said, I'm going to work on another video for this to just kind of highlight a way to solo him, because now that I know what I'm doing, should be easy breezy. Okay, well, that was a little messier than I like, but that's how you know it's organic, because I would not purposely go in there and get myself destroyed that bad, believe you me. So I'm hoping you enjoyed the videos. Remember, I got all chapter 1, 2, and 3. Remember, I do these every single month. So don't forget to click the top left icon that's about to pop up in a few seconds and hit that subscribe. And don't forget to click those notifications on, okay? That way you're going to know when they're coming. And that way you are able to get those notifications on and see them with my good tutorials, my good walkthroughs, all that good fun. As always, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to MCOC. Al Bundy Rules.